Let's enter joint variation. We are under the topic in mathematics, general mathematics, which is called variation. You have done direct variation, you have done what inverse variation, now you are doing what joint variation. And by the end of this video, you should be able to what, solve majority of questions when it comes to what joint variation. And we have about 4 questions here. We solve these 4 questions. For each of the questions I'm going to solve, I'm going to change value. Then you are going to solve that same question. Do you understand? Using those value I'll give to you. Now let me say this here. If you are a student who don't like solving problem, or who, after watching a video and just solve problem yourself, now you have not learned anything at all. Do you understand? One of the proof that you have learned something is when you solve question you know and get the answer. Do you understand? So make sure you are participating in this class. For every question I solve, I will change value. Then you have to solve that question. Use the value I give it to you. Do you understand? Now, like what I said, like what I usually say, so students have bad habits. The bad habit is that they procrastinate that they will go to solve it later. I will know that you are going to solve it later. So the best time for you to do anything, once I change value, pause video, solve those values. Now, follow the examples I've given. They solve that question. Drop it at the comment section. Do you understand? Don't ignore anything. Let's get into it. So we talk about joint variation. Joint variation combine direct and what direct variation and what inverse variation. Do you understand? So remember, when it comes to direct variation, that is S is directly proportional to what to Y is called direct what variation. Do you understand? The inverse variation what S is inversely proportional to what to Y. This is called inverse what variation. Do you understand? So now when it comes to what joint variation, that is S is directly proportional to what to Y, and I said that S can also be what inversely proportional to another quantity. Do you understand? So here we are have 3 different quantity. So let me give you an example here. Remember here you introduce a constant. When you introduce a constant here, what will happen? You're going to have what x equals to ky, right? So the initial point here, you have to calculate what your k, make k the solid formula, which are going to get k equals to what s or what y, right? Now we have solved this one here. Please, you're gonna check out the first video when it comes to what direct or derivation. Here you have to introduce what a constant to remove what the sign of proportionality. So now when you remove the sign of proportionality, what do you have? Here we have x also equals to k over what y. Make it k solve the formula here. You have what k equals to what x y. Do you see that? So but here we're talking about joint variation. Right there. So here we can see that joint variation involves more than 2 variables. Yes, joint variation involves more than 2 variables. In most cases, it is combination of what direct and inverse what variation. For example, yeah, what I've said. For example, x is directly proportional now is directly proportional to what to y and inverse proportional to what to z. What does it mean here? That x is directly proportional to what y and x is inverse proportional to what to z. Do you see that? So when you have something like this, you have to introduce a constant, right? So if you introduce a constant, you are going to remove this one here. We're going to be s equals to k times y over what z, right? Now let's make k the solid of formula here, right? K times y. So here we have x equals to ky over what z, right? Make it what k the solid formula here when you want to cross multiply here. K equals to what x times what z divided by what y. This is that. Now let's solve some problems so that you understand this better. Let's solve some problems so that you understand it better. So now let's solve the first problem. Let's solve the first problem here. So here we say that s varies directly as the product of x and u and what v. Product. What is product? Times product times and inversely as sum as their sum. So now let's interpret for you. Say that x is directly proportional to the product of what x and u and v. Product means what times, so it's going to be u v. Do you see that? And inversely as their sum, then inversely as their sum, we call u plus v. This is a statement. This is what is statement, right? So now let's evaluate the statement first. Let's introduce our constant. So here you can say x equals to k times uv over what? U plus v. Can you see that? So the idea here is to what? Make k is solve the formula here, right? So you can multiply it here. Here we have x equals to k u v what? U plus v. Can you see that? Now make it, when you cross multiply like this, here we have k u v equals to what? X u plus v. Can you see that? Because this x will multiply u and u plus v, right? So you put in what in a bracket. So there is a bracket here. So this one we affect them, right? Divide both side by what? Uv. 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 This is that. So my k is equal to what? X u plus v over what? Uv. Can you see that? So the idea here, look at the idea. The idea is to what? Calculate out your constants. So this is statement. From this statement, you got this one here, right? Now say if x is 3 when u is 3 and y. If x is 3 when u is 3 and v equals to what? 1. What is value of x if u equals to 3 and v equals to what? 3. Look at something here. You have to calculate your constant. Before you can solve anything, you have to calculate your constant. So they say that my x, what's my x? My x is equals to 3. My u is equals to 3. My v equals to what? 1. It's okay. So we want to substitute g value inside this equation here, this formula here. Then calculate what my k. Do you see that? So that would be k equals to my s is what? Is 3 here. My u is what? Is 3. My v is what? Is 1, right? Over what? U times z, which will what? 3 times 1, right? Look at it here. 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. Times 3 is what? Is 12. So here we have 12 over what? 3. 3 going to 12 is what? Is 4. So my k here is equal to what? 4. Now, but what they say should look for? They say should what? What is value of x? What is value of x? What is value of x? Right? What is value of x when? What is value of x when my u is equal to 4? My u is equal to 4, right? If u is what? Is 3 and v is equal to what? 3, then this should calculate my x, right? So we are going to use this equation. We are going to use what? This formula. We are going to use this formula here. We are using what? This formula. This is that we are using what? This formula. Now we are using formula here. My k is 4, my u is 3, my v is 3. This is that. So you now have what? X equals to my k is what? Is 4 times u is what? 3 times 3, right? Over 3 plus 3. Can you see that? So here we have 4 times 3 times 6 is what? Is 9 over what? Here we have 6. Can you see that? So now let's use our calculator at once. I don't have time. So here we have 4 times 9 divided by what? 6. Here we have what? 6. The answer is 6. The answer is 6. So my x is equal to what? 6. That is what answer. Hope you understand. It's very easy. It's very easy. So now let me change the value here. Now let us say here we have 5. And here we have what? 7. And here we have let's say 9. It's okay. Yes. So go ahead and solve this question one for me, right? Pause the video and solve it. Please, like what I said, don't ever ignore what I say you should do. That is the only way you can master this topic. That is the only way you can master any topic at all. Do you understand? So let's look at what question 2. So before I continue here, make sure you solve this one. Drop the answer at the comment section. Don't continue with this video when you have not solved this. You will not listen now. You will not listen. Don't continue with this video until you solve this thing and drop the answer at the comment section. Do you understand? If you like listening. P varies directly as the square of Q and inversely as what? arrow. Therefore, let's interpret this. Let's interpret this here, right? They say that P varies as the square Q raised by what 2, right? Q varies directly as well is square of Q and inversely as arrow, right? So remember you have to introduce what a constant, right? So when you introduce a constant, you're going to be P equals to K times Q square over what arrow, right? Now let's make K the solid formula here, right? So we can say P equals to K Q square over what arrow, right? So when we cross multiply here, we have what Q KQ square equals to what P what arrow divide both sides by what Q square, right? So that is my K, right? My K now is equals to what P arrow over what Q square. This is that. So that is it. Let's say that if P is equal to 36, when Q is what is 3 and arrow is what 4, right? So this value give it to you here, you have to know how to calculate what your constant. So my P is what is 36, right? My Q is what is 3, and the arrow itself is what is 4, right? So let's impute our values here. So here we have K equals to my P is what is 36 times my arrow is what is 4 over what my Q is 3 square. Can you see that? So going to be 36 times 4 over what 9, because 3 square means what 3 times 3 which is what is 9. So we use our calculator here. 36 times 4 divided by what 9. So the answer is what is 16. So my K is equal to what 16, right? K is equal to 16 here. So now say find P. Then now look for P, right? When Q is equals to 5, right? And arrow is equals to what 2, right? Remember my K is already 16. K is what is 16 already, right? So now let's impute the value here. The formula P equals to what K Q square over what arrow, right? So let's impute what our values. So my P is equals to K. What is K? K is 16. K is what is 16 times Q is what is 5 square over arrow is what is 2. Can you see that? So remember which is going to be 16 times what 25, because 5 times 5 is 25 over what 2. So we have times what 25 divided by. So P is equal to what 200. P equals to what 200. That is it. So now let me change value so that you solve yours for me. Now after here is 50, here is 16, and here is 7. I'm just changing the value, right? So here we have 12, and here we have 4, right? So go ahead and solve this question for me. Do you see that? Go ahead and solve this question. So that what question? So we have just solved question 1, question 2. Now let's move to our question. So Q here. No, so now let's solve Q here. Now let's solve question 3. S is directly, please, before you continue, pause the video. Nobody's chasing you. Pause the video, solve this one, and drop your answer at the comment section. If you like, listen. If you like, don't listen. Question 3. S is directly proportional to Y and inverse proportional to Z, right? If S is equal to 9, Y is equal to 24, and Z equals to 8, what is the value of X? I believe you can also do this one here. You should be able to do question 3. I'm not going to solve question 2, this question 2, because it's very easy. So let's look at question 4. S varies directly as what T and inversely as square of Y, right? So X varies directly as T and inverse like square of y, right? Square of y. So now let's construct here first. What happen here? Introduce what equal to sign, right? So this implies that what x is equals to what kt over what y square, right? So now let's make k the subject of formula here. If you make k subject of formula, you go to what cross multiply, right? When you cross multiply, it's going to be kt equals to what x y square, right? Divide both sides by what? By t. By t. So here we have k equals to what? X y square over what? T. So now my x, what is my x? My x is what? 9 over 4. Here we have what? 9 over what? 4, right? Times. What is my y? My y is 4 all square, right? Over my t. What is my t? My t is what? Is 3. So the idea is to look for what? My k, right? So here we have what do you have? 9 over 4 times. Now 4 square means 4 times 4, which is 16 over what? 3. So we have to evaluate this one at the top here. 4 going to 16 is 2, right? 4 times 4 should be 16. 4 times 4 is 16, yes. So 16 divided by 4 is 4, right? So what will happen is now going to be 9 times 4 over what? 3. So this 3 going to 9 is what? Is 3 here. So 3 times 4 is what? 12. So my k equals to what? 12. My k is what? Equals to what? 12. My k is what? Is 12. Can you say that my k is what? 12, as easy as that. Now say find x. So how do you find x? Remember, from here my x is equals to what? Kt or what? Y square, right? And my k is already equals to what? 12. So k equals to what? 12 already, which we have done here. I want to write this board here. Write this board. Right? So my k equals to 12. Where's my t? My t is what? Is 5. My t is what? Is 5. Then my y, where's my y? My y is what? Is 3. Can you see that? So what I want to do here is to substitute your values here. X is equals to k is what? Is 12 times t 5 over 3 square, right? So we're going to be, here is 5. So 12 times 5 over what? 9. Right? So 12 times 5 divided by 9. Here we have what? 6.66. S equals to 6.667. That is the what? Answer. You understand? So I believe this should be okay for you, right? I don't want to change, but just do this, this, and this for me, right? So now we're supposed to enter special case of joint variation. Special case of what? Joint variation. But we're not be looking at that today. So it's called special case of what? Joint variation, but not in this video. Probably in what? In the next video, right? That's going to be the last video when it comes to what? Joint what? Variation. So we're done with what? With variation topic, right? If this video is helpful, please like, comment, share. This video is what? Is helpful. Kindly what? Make sure you solve this question I say you solve and leave the answer at the comment section. Just thanks for watching. See you in my next video.